Hi. Okay. So before I came into drug court, my life was in shambles. I grew up in a family that addiction ran rampant in, as far back as grandparents, probably further than that. And then with my mom, my dad. So I grew up in a family with alcoholism and addiction. Um, as I grew up, I didn't really have any accountability. They just kind of let me do what I wanted to do. I had no consequences for anything. So I just kind of started hanging out with the wrong people. And there was a lot of trauma I had growing up too with my parents. They fought a lot. I was actually with my dad when he shot someone. Whenever I think I was 3 or 4. So that's probably one of the earliest memories I have of being a child is that. So that's kind of affected me throughout my life. And then as I grew up, my parents, they fought all the time. And then I have 5 siblings, but 3 of them are my full biological siblings. They've all been through the addiction too. So as I got older, again, I started hanging out with the wrong people. I just started doing what I want. My parents didn't really keep tabs on me. I started drinking really early, at a really early age, and then started doing harder drugs at the age of 15. And then as that progressed, I just found more and more different groups of people to hang out with who were using different substances. So it went from drinking to doing cocaine to doing meth. And then doing that ultimately kind of is what started the spiral of my life. In between high school and my first year of college, I planned on going off to college, and I got involved with people, and I guess I just tried to fill a void in my life, and drugs did it for me. So in between that year of going off to college, I started using meth heavily. So I was driving 3 hours away to go to college and then coming back every weekend to just use, and then it turned out not only I was missing class on Monday, and then it went to missing class on Monday to missing class half the week, and then eventually I lost my financial aid, and then I appealed it, got it back, and then the addiction got worse. I completely lost it. I had to move back home, and then that's just where I took off. I moved out of my parents' house. I started living with somebody else, and that's what my life consumed of, was using. And then on top of using that, I started using pills. I got pregnant with my daughter. After I had her, I kind of steered away from meth and got into pill addiction, opiate addiction. So that's the one that really got me. It did what I wanted it to do. I felt like invincible on it. So once I got addicted to opiates, then, and then it came with my daughter. I started being absent in her life. Opiate addiction led to heroin addiction, which led me down a dark path for years. I knew at a lot of different points that I wanted to quit, but I didn't know how to quit. I was in and out of a lot of treatment centers, and I would be right back to it as soon as I got out. So fast forward, I ended up getting in trouble with my little brother, had a confrontation with someone, and I don't know if I should really disclose a whole lot, but he got into a confrontation with them and he got in a lot of trouble. And then him getting in trouble led me to get in trouble because ultimately I was trying to hide him. Because at the time I thought that that was the right thing to do. He's my brother, you know. So that was the first time I'd gotten in trouble, and still in the midst of being fully into heroin. I went to jail for I think one night maybe, and I got out, went right back to it, and then kept on. I continued with that for a few more years, and then let me see what happened. You know, I overdosed. I was in the hospital with my ankle. I got a really bad infection from using, and then from getting in trouble that time, I was supposed to go off to a 8-month or 9-month treatment center. I didn't want to go. I wasn't ready. I knew I wasn't going to make it, but it was court ordered. So I either had to go there or I was going to go to jail. So I went to that. I ended up getting kicked out. I got pregnant while I was in there with my second daughter. After I left there, after I got kicked out from there, I had my daughter. I ended up getting in trouble for a second time, violated my probation that I was on from the first time I'd gotten in trouble. During this time though, I was so miserable from what I was doing. My oldest daughter lived with my mom. I ended up having to give custody of my 6-month-old daughter to my brother because I couldn't get my life together. Me and my now husband, he's the one that I got in trouble with. Usually that doesn't happen like that, where when you're in active addiction and you meet somebody and it actually works out. There's a lot of times where I didn't think that we were going to make it. I didn't know why we were even together, really. Whenever we got together, I questioned all of his motives, what his intentions were. I didn't trust it, but he never left my side, never left my side. The whole time I was in the 8-month treatment program, the whole time I was pregnant, when we got in trouble together, we both, and let me just say, whenever I got in trouble that second time and I had to give my daughter up, that was pretty much my rock bottom, except for I still just did not know how to stop. I cried, I think, every single day. I cried. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to do it. So after that happened, I knew I had a warrant for my arrest, and we ended up getting pulled over again. And that time, it was almost like, regardless of the fact that I knew I was going to go to jail and I was going to stay in jail that time, I was so relieved. I was so relieved that it was finally over. I was scared to death. So I went to jail, and of course, it's like that. At the same time, I wanted to quit, but I wasn't sure because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to do it. So of course I fought and wanted to go to the treatment center of my choice. And I always mention this because I'll never forget sitting in court trying to get my way, trying to manipulate the system to my advantage. My lawyer had went and told the district attorney that, you know, she got into this program, blah, 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 and he wasn't going to let me go there. And he said that I was either going to go to the rehab of his choice or to the jail of his choice. So I was like, okay. So my husband now, he went to drug court in Davidson County. I pled in a drug court in Williamson County. I was scared to death, but just like Judge Martin said, it saved my life. And I made that decision sitting in jail, after, things not working out to my advantage or to what I wanted them to be, I just surrendered, basically. I was at the tail end of detoxing, sitting in jail, and I just sat on my bed and was just like, the most humble I've probably been in my entire life of being in active addiction. Just said, God, please help me. I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm doing. And from that day forward, nothing else mattered. I knew I was going to go into drug court. I knew what I wanted to do. I was going to put my 100% into it. And that's what I did. And I called my husband, my boyfriend then, and I told him, because he was going to try to get out on probation, and I told him, if you want to take probation, you can take probation, that's fine, but I'm going to go to drug court. You do what you need to do for yourself. I'm going to do what I need to do for myself, and if that means us parting ways, then we'll part ways. But that didn't happen. He took drug court too. I took drug court. I actually thoroughly enjoyed being a drug court. It was, not only the staff, but just everyone in there and everything that I learned teach me so much about who I was, because I was so lost as a person. I didn't know anything about myself. I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know what I was capable of. I had no idea. And that taught me that, and it taught me to be accountable, and it taught me to be responsible. I got a sponsor. I worked all the steps thoroughly, and it changed my life. I cannot give enough gratitude to drug court or recovery court for what it did for me. And thank you to all of you who are involved, because you don't see that being in the program. So since then, I graduated. I never got in trouble. I never failed a drug test. I never got sanctioned. I just breezed through it. And it seemed like it went so fast. It was kind of bittersweet to graduate. But so since then, I worked in retail the entire time I was in drug court, recovery court. And then once I graduated, it just got to a point where I didn't have a lot of time with my family, and I knew I wanted a career change. So I actually got an entry-level paralegal job at a bankruptcy firm in Nashville. And I was there for about a year and a half, and then my managing attorney left and went to Ponzi Law, and he told me there was a job opening there, so I just got hired on there, so I work there now as a pre-lit paralegal. And just, life is just good now. It's just been a year since we moved into, me and my now husband bought a house. It was just a year on the 30th that we've been there. We got married 2 weekends ago. So again, he's been sober the entire time. Life isn't always, magical, but life is life, and like it says, I live life on life's terms now. I've had some ups and downs, some issues with anxiety, a little bit of issues with depression, and it's so cliche, but whenever someone says my worst day sober is better than my best day high, that holds true so much for me, more than anything else that I've ever read. That's pretty much where I'm at now. I went from being just a completely broken down human being to where I'm at now. I have my children. I have a home. I just got married. We both have great jobs. I'm so glad Miss Martin asked me to come. Last time she asked me to come, I was out of town. But a part of me, this feels a part of me whenever I come and do things like this, instead of having to turn to drugs and alcohol to feel that, this feels that now, and I'm so grateful for that. And I just really thank you for letting me come and talk.